There's a good reason why I'm sleeping in the bathroom every night lately. Ow. Tissue. My bed, where I should be sleeping, is currently occupied by someone else, my rather odd house guest.
You know, Toma, your bed is big enough that you and Index can sleep on it together, though knowing her, she might say no to that. Also, this is why you should have a couch in your apartment, and if you do, why not just sleep there? Or why not have Index sleep there?
I miss my soft, comfortable bed, but mostly I try not to think about it too much.
Well, I, for one, feel sorry for your current living situation. Having to sleep somewhere that is not as comfortable as a bed can be a nightmare. A few seconds ago, we got a first-person point of view where we saw a tissue box right next to the bed, so why Toma didn't see it before he stepped on it afterwards is absolutely beyond me. I get it, it's dark, but the moonlight made it visible. What is Index wearing? It doesn't look like pajamas, and it doesn't look like she's wearing any pants either. Not something I would wear when going to bed.
What are you doing here near the bed where I'm sleeping instead of where you're supposed to be?
What am I doing here? Well, I just had a nosebleed.
Dude, just tell her that you came here for some tissues. Then you could explain that the reason for that is because your nose is bleeding.
Wait, don't get the wrong idea here. Arousal only causes nosebleeds in manga.
You do have a point, but they don't just happen in manga. They happen in anime too. One could argue that they are the same thing, but a manga is something you read, while an anime is something you watch, so fuck you.
Toma! I want you to swear on our Father who art in heaven. Did you feel nothing when you gazed upon my sleeping face?
Oh, what are you talking about? You were just laying there sleeping. Of course I didn't feel anything.
What do you mean you didn't feel anything? I may be a nun, but I'm still a girl, you jerk! I refuse to believe that the sight of me in the bed didn't affect you at least a little bit!
Well, his nose was bleeding before he came here, so he was already feeling something before he gazed upon you.
I feel like there's something I might be forgetting. There are only 24 hours of summer vacation left. The teachers always assign homework over the break just to make sure you can't actually relax. And I'm fairly certain I didn't do any of it.
Toma, master procrastinator. Don't worry, I've been there plenty of times, which is why I have always done my homework just days before it is due.
And I'm fairly certain I didn't do any of it.
Yeah, no, he should be dead after this. A bite in the head like that is bound to cause that to happen, and yet he somehow survives.
The very last day of summer vacation is here!
You say that as if it's a good thing, when most people think otherwise. The last day of summer vacation means break time is almost over.
Hey, if you're going to the store, do you think you could pick up a manga for me? I like the ones that have romance in them, but don't get too steamy, you know?
So basically, you're looking for a romantic comedy?
Yeah, boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back, and everyone lives happily ever after.
Well, congratulations. You just summarized the basic plot of Toradora, and Rascal for that matter.
Oh, Unabara. Good morning.
Huh? You look a little pale. Do you think you might be coming down with something?
She doesn't look any different to me. If she was pale, she would have little color in her skin.
I know this great little seafood restaurant that's just around the corner. Maybe we could grab a bite to eat there.
I just had breakfast and he's inviting me to lunch?
Misaka will be great at Rewatch. Apparently this guy doesn't know what time it is.
Oh, hey! Been waiting long?
Of course, that's all we can.
Really? No one could see Misaka? Also, what do you mean been waiting long? He wasn't even waiting for you. If anything, we should be asking you that question.
Of course, that's all we care about. Tall girls, short girls, thin girls, fat girls, blonde girls, stupid girls, smart girls, girls with curly hair, girls with straight hair.
Aokami is evidently a fan of all types of girls. I like his style.
Anyways, so sorry I'm late. Let me make it up to you, okay? Today lunch will be my treat.
But you just had breakfast a few minutes ago. You even said that.
I just had breakfast and he's inviting me to lunch?
How interesting. A secret rendezvous in front of the girls' dorm.
Hooking up with a boy and not telling me sissy! That's unacceptable!
Why does everyone in Tokyo Wadai need to make such a big deal out of a girl meeting a boy? Have they ever met boys before?
So basically, this Unabara guy has been following you around the whole week, and you're sick of it.
That's pretty much it. Apparently, he's the grandson of our school's director, so I can't just blow him off.
Why not just tell him no? Given how nice he is on the surface, I'm sure his reaction wouldn't be too wild.
A better idea, huh? Yeah, I've got one. Why don't you try wiping the mustard off your face? I'm sorry. Are you alright?
I'm fine.
Let me just add something called a tsundere meter in here. Yeah, in case it wasn't obvious to you already, Misaka is a tsundere. For the uninitiated, the term tsundere refers to an outwardly violent character who runs hot and cold, and alternates between two different moods. Tsun, meaning aloof or irritable, and dere, meaning love-struck. Characters like Taiga Isaka, Maki Nishikino, and arguably Nodoka Toyohama are prime examples of characters with that trope. Now, I don't really mind the tsundere character trait. I think they could be fun if they are done right, and each of the characters I mentioned have a few differences that make them stand out aside from visual appearances. And Misaka has traits that separate her from other tsunderes despite still being one. While she can be aloof at times, other times she comes off as kind and friendly. You can see that in Rewatch, where Misaka is given a calmer persona while still preserving her abrasive personality. When she is paired with characters like Toma though, her core personality shines through. I really like Misaka. While her personality trait is far from original, she still has plenty of things going for her. And I can't wait to talk more about her when we get to Railgun, her very own spin-off series.
Hey, which one's yours and which one's mine?
Well, I think maybe this one is... Oh.
Let me look at it.
Huh? You figure it out yet? I said...
No, they look exactly the same! Here, you take this one. We'll just have to hope it's right. Honestly. Are you always this careless? Freaking idiot.
Hey, it's not like it's my fault you ordered both of us the same thing. What's bothering you now? I've never seen you this quiet before.
Nothing's wrong, I'm fine.
Now, you may not think that this is a spectacular scene, but let's rewind to about a minute prior. So as you can see from this shot, Toma places his hot dog on the left of Misaka's hot dog. And when Misaka looks at both to see which one is hers, she gives the one on her left arm to Toma. Keep in mind, from this shot's perspective, Toma's hot dog is on the left, in Misaka's right arm, and Misaka's hot dog is on the right, which is the one Misaka gives to Toma. Misaka gets Toma's hot dog, which is still in her right hand. They end up eating each other's hot dogs. Conclusion? They switched hot dogs. Whether Misaka did this intentionally or not is unknown. All that matters, however, is that they performed an indirect kiss. A huge indirect kiss. It is no wonder people ship these two. Misaka has no eyes in this frame while eating Toma's hot dog. Was it really so hard to make the blushing smaller to make room for her eyes?
So, what's our next move gonna be?
Huh? What do you mean, move?
You know what I mean. How do we make everybody believe that we're the real deal?
So now that the experiment is over, fewer than 10 of the sisters are still living in Academy City. Most of them are staying in an institution to have their bodies readjusted.
That's great and all, but I think Toma was talking about the next step of the boyfriend act, not the next step of your clones.
What a relief. It sounds like everything turned out for the best in the end. I'm glad to hear they're okay.
Uh-huh. I'm guessing this isn't what couples normally talk about.
Well, that depends on your definition of normal, because what do couples normally talk about when they're on dates? They can talk about anything as far as I'm concerned.
What more do you want from me? I need to get this homework done. I have to turn it in less than 24 hours.
If you keep pressing the tip of your pen like that, you'll quickly run out of lead. One of them just dropped. This is why you should pay attention.
What more do you want from me? I need to get this homework done. I have to turn it in less than 24 hours.
Homework, huh? Yeah, I've heard of that before.
Wait, does your school not give out homework?
Come on.
You've gotta be kidding. Misaka must be so lucky to not be given any homework. Oh wait, she does do homework. Railgun shows that.
Oh, okay. So this is just a basic math review then.
Wow. How do you know all that?
How do you not know all this?
Because he lost his memories? I still don't get why Toma needs to keep his memory problem a secret from everyone else. I guess it doesn't matter at this point, considering he remembers most of the characters he met already.
Hey. How about we just take a little breather and get a soda?
You're going to get a soda after you had breakfast and after you had hot dogs. Couldn't you have just waited for lunch? Cafe do Cafe. In Comic Sans, no less. Very good name there, guys.
Well, I was just wondering if you were a friend of Misaka's.
That a problem?
Sort of. I'm not really crazy about guys being friends with the girl I like.
Oh, so you're one of those people. If it's bothering you that much, my advice is to not do anything about it, unless Misaka's alone, of course.
Remember, as of today, you're my boy... You're pretending to be my boyfriend so we can get Mr. Unabara to leave me alone for good. It's not like it's rocket science or anything.
I can't.
Huh?
Well, he's actually a really nice guy, and I think he's serious about you.
What do you mean?
I don't get what it is you don't like about him.
Well, she did explain that he's been following her around for the entire week, to which she found to be annoying. Or does that not count as something she doesn't like about him?
So, what do we do now? Are we keeping this up still? Or maybe
No.
you...
You can stop pretending to be my boyfriend, but let me treat you to one last thing. What do you feel like?
We're already eating again?
You had breakfast and hot dogs, and you feel like eating again?
Everywhere looks full.
Are you sure? They don't look full to me. No huge lines or anything.
Did you get all your homework finished up?
Yeah.
Actually, no. You're still working on it later in the story arc.
I guess there is a flaw in every plan. How inconvenient for me. I didn't think the real Unabara could escape.
Escape from where? Where did you trap him? And how did the real Unabara escape?
Okay, I get it. So this TV show, Magical Powered Kaname, is about a girl who can fool the Roman Orthodox witch hunter crusaders by simply disguising herself as a student.
Index, a sorceress, who is technically a magical girl, is watching a show about a magical girl. Subtlety, I guess.
The knife he carries is made of obsidian. I know it. I think it might be the spear of Tului's Kalpantakutli.
What?
Yeah, I have a hard time saying big words like that when I first hear them too.
The sorcerer just has a replica of the spear. It's probably a mirror. He'll attack by reflecting the light from Venus in the spear's obsidian plate. I think the best thing for you to do is to try blocking it with your right hand.
I mean, what else could he use? His right hand is literally the solution to every problem he comes across.
Man, these sorcerers are twisted.
Toma!
Yeah, you do realize that Index is a sorceress too, right? You're basically insulting her.
You have access to the 103,000 grimoires.
No, he doesn't. Index does. You could have worded that sentence better.
And as if that wasn't enough, you've made friends with some interesting people lately. Among them are a few sorcerers and a level 5 Esper. You're forming a group of supporters being referred to as the Kamajo Forces.
The what? Dude, you're not making sense.
Your friends. Together, their power threatens to upset the balance between the two worlds.
Toma has no control over the people he met in the story arcs thus far. If they're upsetting the balance between science and magic, then you're going to have to prove it, because I'm not seeing any imbalance right now. Now this is some decent combat. Where was this Toma in the Angel Fall arc? I would have liked to see him fight back against Tsushima Kado.
Like it or not, you and Misaka will still be targets. Will you protect her for me? Will you keep her safe? No matter where she is or what she's doing, swear to me you'll be there for her. Please, will you make me that promise?
Ugh, I hate it when they block out what the character said. What did Toma say? I think I have an idea, but I really want to know.
Yeah, he is the kind of guy who would say something like that without thinking. I know I'm nobody special or anything. I'm not going to take his words the wrong way. But he makes it really difficult. The idiot.
Wait, what? Were you thinking or saying something? It has to be the latter because your mouth didn't move until the end. To me, an echo in someone's voice means thoughts in their heads. It didn't look like that here.
This summer vacation was an eventful one to say the least. As a result, I did virtually none of the homework I'd been assigned for the break. My most recent adventure involved posing as Zapper's boyfriend and fighting a sorcerer. I'm not the only one who's been busy, though. Shortly after midnight on August 31st, Accelerator had an unexpected encounter of his own.
How would you know? You weren't even there during Accelerator's story. The end? That sounds like a name for a final episode. But this isn't the final episode. This is episode 19. This isn't the end from Lost.
After losing a fight to that Kamajo guy, I seem to have lost my status as the strongest Esper in Academy City. I'm still a level 5 Esper.
So, logically, you're still a stronger Esper than Toma. Just because you lost one fight doesn't eliminate your status as the strongest Esper.
And my abilities haven't lessened or changed at all.
Maybe you're so powerful that there is no reason for you to be stronger or weaker than you are. That Hyouka clone from the Sisters arc said it herself.
You are already the strongest level 5 in Academy City. You are in a position where nobody else can touch you. So there is no need for you to become more powerful, Hyouka states reasonably.
What has changed about me? I'm glad I can reflect that noise away.
If I had the power to block off noise, it would be whenever Index or anyone in real life is causing a ruckus in the middle of the night, which is exactly what Accelerator does here, and rightfully so. He clearly has no time for this shit. Where did this girl come from?
Huh. A tiny walking blanket.
How did you know she was there? You blocked off all the noise around you, meaning that there is no way you heard her footsteps. If she touched you, I'd be more understanding of you getting a reaction.
Oh my, so unresponsive. That's a pretty fascinating indicator of your personality type.
Despite being younger than Hyouka and her clones, Last Order sounds more or less like the others, even though she sounded a lot younger in the Japanese version. It might be because Karbowski didn't want to provide a younger voice for Last Order, but couldn't they get another actress to voice her?
So I must conclude that you're the world's biggest space cadet, Hyouka says, tilting her head.
You weren't tilting your head.
Hyouka is vehemently trying to assert her own existence, and by remaining silent, you're invalidating her presence.
Huh? Hold it. You said Hyouka?
Oh, Hyouka's existence has been acknowledged! Yay! Hyouka cries, congratulating herself.
I have an idea for a drinking game. Take a sip every time Last Order says Hyouka in this story arc. I guarantee that you'll pass out in the first 5 minutes.
Short stuff. Stop the chattering and take that blanket off. I want to get a better look at your face.
Hold on, you can't just ask a girl to take her clothes off in the middle of the street. That's downright creepy, and I have no intention of...
What the?
Most priceless reaction ever.
Which apartment is yours, Hyouka asks curiously.
Number 304.
Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you. Hyouka offers a polite greeting.
Hey, what are you doing in here?
That wasn't your apartment. It's somebody else's place entirely. Hyouka is angry with you now. You can apologize by telling me which apartment is really yours. Hyouka demands stiffly.
Oh, all right, it's 307.
it's a pleasure to meet you.
You're not the delivery guy.
Why didn't these people lock their apartment doors? Burglars would be a non-issue if they did.
What the hell happened to my apartment?
A normal person would go ballistic over their apartment being destroyed, but Accelerator remains calm about it like the badass he is.
Oh, wow. It looks like a hurricane came through here.
A hurricane would destroy the entire apartment and everywhere near it, and everyone would know about it from the news and the like. So I'm highly doubtful of your claim that a hurricane destroyed Accelerator's apartment room.
What are you gonna do now? Given the circumstances, you might be safer sleeping on the streets than staying here.
You really want Last Order to sleep on the streets and be on the verge of dying? Sounds pretty heartless to me.
Well, that might be true, but even so, I would prefer to stay here. Misaka entreats earnestly.
What? Why do you want to?
Misaka doesn't want to be alone, so she'd like to stay here with you.
Suit yourself.
I really like Accelerator here. Even though he thinks Last Order is safer sleeping on the streets, he accepts Last Order's offer to sleep with him in his apartment. I guess he's not so heartless after all.
Aww. You can tell a lot about people by observing their facial expressions while they sleep, Misaka states with a chipper tone in her voice.
You're still here, that's just excellent.
What are you talking about? You allowed her to stay. Why would she still be here?
It's a beautiful morning. Actually, I guess a beautiful afternoon at this point.
And by beautiful afternoon, you mean before lunch. Because after this scene, you and Accelerator have lunch, and I would have considered that being in the afternoon. Well, look at that. They managed to retread the real-life Jonathan's Coffee and Restaurant twice, this time being a different name.
I'm getting a headache.
Honestly, I would be too if I was with an annoying character like Last Order.
They have pizza and burgers and spaghetti too. Ooh, and even curry.
That guy. Is that Al Amai? That bastard. What the hell could he be doing here?
What are you looking at? Misaka inquires curiously.
You could just look behind you to find out what he's looking at, but apparently you're too dumb to do that.
Stay focused on the task at hand. Do you remember why we're here?
Yeah, we're here to get something good to eat. Misaka promptly answers the question.
If she heard the sound of that car, Last Order would have totally looked outside to see it drive away. But she doesn't give it a second thought after that, probably because the plot demands that she doesn't.
What's the matter? Why aren't you eating it?
It's proper etiquette to give thanks for the food before eating. Misaka would like to do so to show her manners.
Sure, it is proper etiquette, but for where I come from, it is not really a mandate. I just sit down and eat what is right in front of me without saying anything. Call me a dick for not showing my manners, but who really gives a damn? The people who made the food don't watch us eat at a restaurant.
Thanks for all the food!
I gotta say, I am not a fan of how they translate how characters give thanks for the food they receive from the Japanese version.
Itadakimasu!
I know there was nothing they could do about it, but it really irks me.
That doesn't matter, what's good is good. And sitting down at the table to eat with someone else only makes it taste that much better, Misaka explains philosophically.
That explanation was nowhere near complex enough to be philosophical. Also, you say that sitting with someone else makes the meal taste better, and I don't really get why. Whether you're alone or with another person when eating, the meal wouldn't taste any better. Call me a cynic if you want, but I've been around the block.
I don't understand what you're doing here. You do know what happened to the rest of your little family when they met me, don't you?
This implies that you killed all of the remaining clones, when really there are only a few left standing, with most of those clones having their bodies readjusted in an institution.
I was trash talking. I don't see how that makes you think I was trying to establish a connection with you.
Yes, that's the second odd thing about your behavior, Misaka agrees, holding up 2 fingers to illustrate.
You don't need to say that you're holding 2 fingers.
I'm getting tired of listening to this crap.
Accelerator describes how I feel about all the drawn-out exposition scenes in this series.
Hey.
Misaka's body isn't complete yet. Her physical condition is still less than perfect. Normally, she wouldn't even be out of the incubator at this point. Misaka clarifies the reason for her collapse. Up until now, she has been able to manage, so she assumed she would be all right. Perhaps she was mistaken. Misa.
Hey.
More proof that Accelerator has a heart. He would have just walked away completely, but instead he checks up on Last Order to see if she's still okay.
Of all places, this is where my feet carried me?
Your feet don't control you. If you ask me, you pretty much walked over there out of curiosity, not because your feet took you there.
Hey.
Hey, Accelerator, welcome back. You didn't have to break the door down, you know. Your ID is still good for another 90 days.
He didn't break the door down, he just merely opened it. If you mean the door outside, if it was broken down, an alarm would go off. Pretty sure he used his ID to open it.
I bet you're having the time of your life stuck in this room going through data all day.
Actually, it's not as fun as it looks.
Pretty sure he was joking, Yoshikawa.
It's joke.
Right now, there are two things you could do. One is solving the problem entirely by tracking down Awamai and getting him to give up information on the virus. The other would be securing Last Order and the virus before it activates and returning her to the incubator so we can contain the threat.
Or he could just do both. Given what happened in the next episode, that might be the optimal thing to do. Kick the scientist's ass and save Last Order from destruction. They're going to be in the same location by tonight when Accelerator gets there, so what gives?
A Misaka sister nicknamed Last Order approached Accelerator seeking his help. He later learned that a virus had been implanted in her head by a man named Ao Amai. If the virus is triggered, 10,000 sisters will launch an attack on humanity. What is he going to do? Wait, I don't have any scenes in this episode either?
Breaking the fourth wall.
Accelerator. That's me now, but I used to have a normal name. A first and last name, like everybody else. It wasn't even a particularly unusual name.
And you won't explain what that normal name is. Why? Boy, when your childhood involves the military coming after you, you must have the worst childhood imaginable.
The virus is designed to activate on its own, right? If that's the case, why would he make a move on the kid now?
Accelerator would be great at Rewatch. He could have just driven back to the restaurant a few minutes after Accelerator left and grabbed Last Order from there. Vehicle has trouble starting up when preparing to evade evil, or in this case hero, cliché. Do you even know about Accelerator? If so, then you should have known about his vector transformation ability. Accelerator's foot kicks the door, but his foot is not in contact with it in the next shot.
The implanted virus code. From the sound of it, it's getting ready to execute. I don't understand why it's happening. We still have 4 hours till midnight. This could mean we were fed false information.
Oh great, information that we were told earlier turns out to be false. Never seen that before.
You know there's only one thing you can do. Dispose of Last Order. It's the only way. Save the world by killing her.
The fact that Accelerator is now shocked and is seemingly unwilling to kill Last Order after killing thousands of Misaka clones is a sign of good character development.
Remaining code count, 23,891. Just 10 seconds left to go. I knew this would be easy enough to do.
Villain gets up in the nick of time cliché.
Just 10 seconds left to go. I knew this would be easy enough to do.
Get away. Don't interfere.
You've got to be kidding me. I'm doing electron microscope level precision work here. I don't have any power remaining to divert to reflection.
I could take my hand off the kid and use vector reflection to defend myself. If I did that, he could drop a nuclear bomb on me if he wanted it. I wouldn't get so much as a scratch. What an idiot. Did I actually believe this would work? I thought I could do it. I thought I could save somebody else and earn a second chance for myself.
Yeah, that was way more than 10 seconds. You would have stopped him earlier if it actually was. See? You could have done that the second you let go of Last Order after reprogramming her. The guy would have been dead then.
What? You're alive? I see. That's what you did. You managed to reflect the bullet right before it entered your brain. That's it, right?
No, that bullet clearly entered his brain. If he did reflect the bullet, it would have killed you.
It makes me sick, the person I've become. But that doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with that kid, nothing whatsoever. True, I'm responsible for killing more than 10,000 of the sisters. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sit back and watch the other 10,000 die because of you. Yeah, I know. Coming from me, you think it's just lip service. But I promise it's more than that. It doesn't matter that you and I are nothing but human scum, or what justifications we might make. It's not about us, it's about her, and I'm telling you she doesn't deserve to die!
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the many reasons why Accelerator is such a great character. From someone whose previous action was the death of a massive group of clones, this scene shows how much he's developed. He puts Last Order's life over his, all because he doesn't want to watch the remaining clones die, especially one that is younger and full of more energy than the rest. That's why he collapses a few seconds later. Accelerator basically goes from mass murderer to an anti-hero who is brash on the outside, but has a heart on the inside. Just wonderful.
That's just the way it is, I'm afraid.
Shooting from off-screen cliché.
Yoshikawa, you shot me.
No shit, Sherlock.
I have a rather talented doctor friend. You wouldn't guess it by looking at him. Poor man has a face like a frog, I'm afraid. But he's so good at what he does, he's actually been given the nickname Heaven Canceller.
So that's what people call him. I wish we had Heaven Cancellers in the real world. First person point of view at a critical plot moment.
Last Order, where is she?
Are you talking about a young girl with brown hair by any chance?
Yes, all of the clones have brown hair, so there's no need to ask that question. Then again, Last Order is younger than the other clones, so...
It looks like the city higher-ups have found out about this bloody little incident. The lab's been permanently shut down, and the experiment completely terminated. In other words, I'm afraid you're out of a job.
Oh, I see. I suppose this means my life as a researcher is over.
But that's great, isn't it? That means you could become a school teacher, just like you wanted. Why are you so down about this?
In case you've already forgotten, I'm the one who killed 10,000 of the sisters. And now you're asking me to save one of them?
Well, what do you know? He was their savior after all. Wasn't he?
Well, he was a savior for half of them, but okay. Also, there is a third story to this arc, but that was relegated to Season 2. I don't know why, but they could have added it in Season 1 and nothing in the story would have changed. I like this ending sequence. It's better than the first one. Seeing what Academy City looks like after the rain is really cool. The song is better too. Iku did a great job here once again. It sounds pretty calm and I love the instruments here. Listen to it on a beautiful afternoon. You won't regret it. Let's have a brief listen, shall we? Accelerator's new outfit, which we will never see again until Season 2. Figures.